Hi, Gordon the Gamekeeper here again. In previous episodes of Conservation Fact Files, we learned about the Game and Conservation Manager's work in the farmland, upland and woodland habitats, and we also learned about predation management. This time we're going to look at one of the birds on the Birds of Conservation Concern Amber List, the Goggle-Eyed wader, otherwise known as the Stone Curlew. Say hello to the Stone Curlew, known colloquially as the Goggle-Eyed wader because of its eyes and long legs. An old term for the bird was the Norfolk plover, also known as thick knee, and the wailing heath chicken on account of the eerie curlew-like calls at night. Take a listen to this audio. If you wondered where thick knee came from, here's the reason. So how big is a stone curlew? They are a medium-sized bird with a body about the same size as a magpie, but they are twice as heavy and have 50% longer wings. And talking of longer wings, they need them both for carrying the extra weight and for the long-distance travel. The stone curlew are a migratory species. They migrate either singly or in small groups, flying from Spain and North Africa to the UK in early spring to breed, typically in the middle of March. In the UK, they strongly favour the Brecklands area of Norfolk and the Salisbury Plain in Wiltshire. Stone curlew will normally return close to the area where they were hatched. Their return migration happens in October-November. The stone curlew gather in post-breeding roosts prior to the long return flight in the autumn. Occasionally, some birds stay behind overwintering in the UK. At present, the UK's summer population numbers no more than 400 breeding pairs. A normal meal for a stone curlew consists of invertebrates, worms, beetles, etc. And occasionally they have been known to eat young mice or chicks of other ground nesting birds. Now this may explain why the eyes tend to point downwards slightly, constantly searching for food. They also have acute hearing, which helps them locate food. As adults, almost all the feeding is done at night, but during the growing period of their chicks, feeding continues all day. One farming practice which is most beneficial to stone curlew are the open pig fields, which can carry a lot of invertebrates and insects, etc. Easy pickings for the stone curlew. Stone curlews strongly prefer open ground on which to nest. However, the intensification of farming and the increase in arable crops has seen a loss of bare ground, leading to a reduction in breeding pairs over the country. Through education, the farming practice in their preferred areas does now leave some bare ground which is suitable for nesting. Nesting can be encouraged by creating bare ground, typically by just spraying an area with herbicide, so leaving open ground with no vegetation. They tend to nest on short, semi-natural grass or heathland and bare ground on chalky, sandy soil. The nest is just a scrape lined with small stones, bits of shell, and the eggs are perfectly camouflaged when laid. Stone curlew hens will normally lay 2 eggs a couple of days apart. The hen will start to sit the first egg as soon as it is laid, and the second may well not be laid until 2 days later. Consequently, they will have staggered hatching. Both the male and female birds will sit on the eggs during incubation. Once the chicks have hatched, all evidence of eggs, etc. will be removed from the nest as part of the defense or camouflage strategy. The hen will continue to brood and sit at the same time. If necessary, the male will also brood as well. As the chicks grow, and they are able to find more food for themselves, and it is at 45 days old they are able to fly, at which point they are fully fledged and on their own. Just before the chicks are fully fledged, the female may well lay another 2 eggs and start the process of raising another brood. If the nest is predated or destroyed, they will also lay again. Almost always, both chicks hatch. Nesting in the open in a shallow scrape in the ground is a precarious practice and leaves the nest and eggs vulnerable when farm machinery is operating in the area. Cooperation and interest between gamekeepers, landowners and farm workers goes some way to protecting the nests during farming activities, which is very important for the breeding success of the bird. With their almost perfect camouflage, it is very easy to not know there is a nest in the area, and when one is identified, it is vital that farm workers are notified and the area marked so they can avoid it during farming activities. The primary means of defense for both the bird, the nest and the chicks is camouflage. The adult bird is extremely sensitive to disturbance and will quietly creep away from the nest if there is a threat, leaving the eggs unattended and almost impossible to find, only to return later when all is safe. Sadly, uncontrolled dogs are, however, a major cause of nest abandonment. The major cause of adult and chick predation are foxes and corvids. This is where the predation management capabilities of the gamekeeper really come to the fore. Invariably, the breeding and production rate of the bird is quite significantly higher on managed ground than on unmanaged ground with no or very little predation management. The previous conservation fact file number 5 explains a lot more about predation management. And finally, from monitoring the rings placed on chicks by organisations such as the RSPB, we know that these birds will live to a great age, maybe 25 to 30 years. If the success rate for rearing is 0.6 chicks per nest on average, the population will remain stable. If the success rate is more than that, the population will be increasing. In the UK, the population is recognised as stable, largely due to the success of predation control as practised by gamekeepers and the interest shown in the bird by landowners and farmers. Long may we continue to see the recovery of the goggle-eyed wader. So until next time, goodbye for now.